Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Fandom Empire Live, and I'm not Sean. So uh, this is what you're getting today. I don't know what to do all this Sean stuff. Hey, we're just outside Toronto, Canada. Mother Canuckers. What else does Sean say before the show? Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, today we're going to talk about quite a few things. We're going to get some Halloween ends in there, some big and slightly angering news in that world. We're going to talk about something that happened with Matt Reeves and possible expansion of the Batman universe. We're going to get into a little bit of the She-Hulk, and we're going to do a review of House of the Dragon episode 1. We're all going to give our take a little bit, might take a look at some images and go through that whole thing. Super excited to get into that. And then we'll just talk wrestling because that's just fun and we'll do it. You know, I know Jer's just going to just savor the moment for when that comes up. And so I guess we'll probably outro Mike and Tommy before that happens because they're too cool for school.
I'm here for She-Hulk.
Yeah, I'm here for
She-Hulk. You gonna talk She-Hulk? I'll talk She-Hulk.
When I saw She-Hulk was on the schedule, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little hype. I haven't been able to talk about it with anybody, so.
Well,
I got hyped for She-Hulk. They escorted me at a Walmart.
Before we get to that,
obviously, I just want to say, obviously, Sean couldn't be here. He wanted to take some time off to have a good evening to watch Halloween 5. So that is why he is not here.
Exactly. That's what I heard from him. I heard, you know what? I like to watch this movie in peace. I don't like to be interrupted. I like to watch this H5 naked. I really enjoy just like the freeing energy of watching Dr. Loomis like a madman yell at little children. That's it. That's it. And it's kind of a joke, but that's the way that I actually like to watch the movie. So that's where I got it from. But before we get into watching H5 naked, let's talk about Halloween Ends, because something has just kind of really crazily happened. It's not really a very positive thing, but it's been announced that simultaneously it's going to be released on Peacock as well as in theaters. So before I have seen this like in headlines quite a bit, just being like, it's being released on Peacock, and people are like, what? I want to see the movie in the theater. Well, you're not getting that taken away from you. That's not, but could be bad for business. I don't know. Let's why don't we go to Mr. Mike Bish on this one? What do you think about being released on both platforms? And what kind of business is that going to do, especially? Like, it seems like there's like a crazy arms race for online content now that they're sacrificing theater revenue.
Yeah, I don't think it's the wise decision to do. I mean, obviously, I think from a business standpoint, you'd be able to make more money putting it in the theaters and just maybe waiting 2 weeks to a month even to release it out on Peacock if that's what you want to do. But I this kind of screams. I know Sean touched on it earlier, and T. Brad touched on it earlier. That it just basically means that you don't have confidence in your film, in a sense. And we obviously know on the panel, we know what happens and whether we like it or not. They had test screenings. I know the reception wasn't amazing throughout those, so maybe they really don't have confidence in it, and this is why they're doing it. I don't know. I just kind of look at films that films like the new Orphan movie that obviously was put out on Paramount Plus and released in minimum theaters. It was released in very minimum theaters and did pretty damn well for that reason. So when you see, and we talk about The Black Phone, that was a low budget film that wasn't a franchise movie like Halloween is, they did really, really well and a lot better than expected. So I don't know, man. I just feel like they're losing out on a lot of money here for me, I know I'm still going to go see it in theaters. I have a Regal pass, so I'm able to see as many movies as I want throughout the month for a price of like $21. So I'll go see it. I definitely think that all films should be viewed in theaters if obviously done safely and you're able to. For me, that's the best way I like to experience it. But for me, I'm going to see this movie in IMAX. I really do. I've never seen a Halloween movie in IMAX. I'm excited that this film is getting released in IMAX. So that's my plan, is to see it in IMAX. But I agree with Sean. We just talked about it on the Take One podcast. I think they're a movie too late. I think that the best IMAX film out of this trilogy would have been Halloween Kills. This is more of a dialed back movie in a sense. So seeing Halloween Kills, that movie would have been a lot better in IMAX, but obviously that didn't happen. So from a business standpoint, I don't understand why they're doing this. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all.
Yeah, I can't, like, I'm not really in on the business sense of it, but from an outside perspective, from just a logic perspective, it's like, okay, well, you can put it on Peacock 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. Like, you don't have to do it simultaneously, so you could get people who are gonna go see it in the theater and then be excited about it coming out. The real big fans are gonna be excited for the release, excited for the release on Peacock, excited for the release on DVD. Like, some people are, you can stagger these things out and you'll make money from that one person 3-4 times. But it's less likely to happen if that person just says, like, you know what, I'm going to skip the theater. I'll see it on Peacock, and then, skip that extra step, which is, used to be the way to make money, with a film, right?
So you're gonna have, yeah, and you're gonna have your people that don't subscribe to Peacock year round, which I don't. I subscribed to it to last year to watch Halloween Kills more because I'm a super fan of the franchise, so I will do that. And to catch up on Yellowstone. Outside of that, I don't have it. There's just not a lot to offer. I think there's a lot more in other services that I pay for that I know $4.99 might not be a lot. But when you have other services, they definitely rack up. And I'm not going to pay $4.99 if I'm not going to put it to use. And you're going to see a lot of people that, let's just say, don't want to go to the theaters to watch this film. They're going to pay that $4.99 or even get it free through some of their, cable subscribers or however else they can get it free. So I don't know, man. I just don't think it's just a good decision at all.
Yeah. Well, I know my streaming services cost, like Disney Plus, $25. Netflix is like $20 now. Of course, I got the Dark Match Drive. It's kind of a streaming service for me too. And yeah, I pay like $100 in streaming. I got DAZN as well for football and boxing. And anyways, pass it on to Jer here. How do you feel about, like, because I know you saw Halloween Kills in the theater, because I was beside you enjoying your company. And, how do you feel about, if you, like, are you going to go see it in theater again? Did you want to go see it in theater again? Do you think it's weird that a trilogy might be uh, released in a different way? Like, it's part of a trilogy. You think they would kind of do the same thing, but.
Yeah, it's weird that they would just drop it on Peacock and the theater at the same time. I mean, yes, we're still recovering from COVID movie releases and the way they would do it. And I think it's hard because in a way you could say that it's not, they don't believe in the film, right? So they don't feel that they're going to make enough money just strictly in theaters that it's going to pay off, and then they can do the release later on. But honestly, I would have expected something along the lines of, okay, they release it in theaters for 2-3 weeks. Let that section of the fan base go do that, watch it in theaters, watch it in IMAX, whatnot, and consume it that way. And then once the people who are wanting to see it in theaters have seen it, then you can put it out on a streaming service. And then the people who would not want to go see it in theater, then they get the opportunity to check it out and they get the money from Peacock and whatnot. because, well, yeah, like Caitlin says, it's hard because it's going to be pirated day one. You know, that's the world we've lived in for the past 20 years. And is that going to hurt? Absolutely. Is it going to put a big dent in it? I don't know. But I mean, the option to go see it in theaters is there. So it's a positive in the sense that you get both, but it does lead to questions why they're doing both. Because I don't, you know, why are they doing it? What are they getting out of this? Do they not have faith in the movie? Did they want to try to get the movie out to as many people as possible on release date? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, for me, it's weird. I don't understand it sometimes, but I know that, like, we know the way the world's going. We know theaters are kind of like living on Marvel content these days. And everything's gonna eventually, like, streaming services is the way of the future. You're gonna get more and more content that's like, we're getting Netflix original movies that are awesome now, right? We're not getting Netflix original movies that are B movies and stuff like that. We're getting decent stuff coming out on Amazon only, on Disney Plus only. Well, Disney Plus only is mostly series, but these things it's becoming a thing, so it's got to be viable. But at the same time, it's really weird to me to do it in a trilogy, to do it like to have the last part of a trilogy be the one that's being released in this way.
Yeah, you could binge watch all three in one night, essentially. I assume the other two are on Peacock. We don't get Peacock.
I would believe they are. Peacock is, it's just interesting for me that libraries are, like, it seems like the way to go is just to expand libraries as quickly as possible, buy up as many properties so that you can put up a streaming service. Like, even these things like I thought Tubi, Tubi was mentioned in the chat I saw here. There are like 20 Tubies now. There's like 20 streaming services that are like that have commercials, and they have like really old movies that you could watch on YouTube, but they throw them on their streaming service so you can watch it. Like old Turner Classic style movies, like things that you can get for free or in a $1 bin at the dollar store, and they're throwing them up on these things. And there's just so many streaming platforms. It must just be an easy way to make money, but I don't know if it's because of the constant revenue stream or predictability. I don't know if they just think it's the way of the future, but
and they got specialized ones
Brad,
too.
let us know your comments on streaming over the theater. Which one are you going to like, and why do you think they're doing this?
They got specialized ones, and these free with streaming services too. I've been getting one for like an anime only type one, right? So it's different. They really got that
smile on your
approach
face. Is it like regular anime or really weird anime that only you and Jared talk about? Because we can give you guys your own show.
Jared. Only Jared and I talk.
Please support our hentai podcast coming in 2023.
He just comes straight out and says it. There you go.
I knew I could rely on Jared.
I don't mince words.
It's fucking great.
I've been in the hentai room at Anime North at 3 a.m. Hand check, everybody. Yeah, I've got stories. Continue.
Yeah, just continue after that. No problem. Just phase back into your regular.
Continue after that. So I'll tell you what, because I talked about it earlier, and I'm not gonna fucking beat the horse any better than it already is. Universal did a good job at that already. This is not only a bad decision. This is not only a poor decision. This is a fucking stupid decision that has, from my perception, no positive payout. I don't see how they're going to make any money realistically from this, because
you're really. Is this for everyone? He's really robotic and choppy, cutting out there.
Hell. Great.
You're becoming a robot here.
I want to be a fucking robot. So, we'll make it brief. This is stupid. Most people already get Peacock, probably, who are getting Peacock. I get Peacock free, and from what I know about the movie, I probably won't even go see it in theaters. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, it's going to be tempting for people. There are going to be people who are like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this in theaters," and then get there and be like, "Oh, shit, I don't have enough time," and go, you know what? I do have the Peacock thing, so I'll just watch it there. There are going to be people who intend to watch it in the theater and then don't. There probably is going to be some people on the like the other way around. But when you think about the one that costs a lot of money, and you know, if you're bringing your significant other, probably not your children to this movie, but you know, there are people. You know, you're going to spend a lot of money. So I do want to move on though, because if you want to talk a little bit more, you want to find out a little bit more about this one, we do have a video already on it. Mike Bitch, last point.
Yeah, just one more point before we wrap up. I know Sean and T Brad mentioned it earlier on the live stream for this topic. You know, there are people behind the scenes who are involved with the film that this is kind of a slap in the face for them. You know, Ryan Freeman, who is very involved. If you know him, you know his circle and his connection. He once this was announced, or pretty much right after it was announced, he went to his Instagram, made a post, and it's still up there for anybody who wants to go see. It basically reads, "I love going to the movie theater. It is why I spent my life working to get into the business. I believe that is where movies are meant to be seen first. You can't win every battle." So a lot of people behind the scenes did not want this film to go to Peacock, at least immediately. They wanted this to be released strictly into theaters. And I want to say, if I had to take a guess, pretty much everybody involved in the cast, if you can actually go to his Instagram and do a little dig in. If you click into his likes, you see people like Christopher Nelson liked this post. So a lot of people involved really agree with this. And you know, I know Jamie Lee Curtis released the video announcing that it was on Peacock, but that doesn't mean that's what she wants to do. I mean, she has a job, and right now her job is to market this film as much as she can, and this is the decision that was made. It was not Jamie Lee Curtis's decision. I know she has power in a sense, probably more than a lot of people do, but not more than Universal, not enough to really make a decision like this. And if you go back to when Halloween Kills was released last year, we all know Jamie Lee Curtis and her stance on COVID and social issues and things like that. She still, in a lot of interviews, said that she believed, even though it was getting released in public on Peacock last year, she thinks that this film should be seen in theaters. So if you could do it safely, go out and see Halloween Kills in theaters. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I believe pretty much most of the cast wants this film to be released in theaters strictly, at least for the first few weeks.
Yeah, I totally get that too, as opposed to maybe some other fan bases or actresses cast that are involved in different genres. But like horror is kind of like a lot of it is about how the movies are made. A lot of it is like that magic, you know, like horror movies were made like a lot like the first few Halloween movies were made with tricks and like we might be able to they were made with shit from the dollar store where they could like try to craft an interesting way to make something look real. Lots of that sort of stuff involved, and so those people are, I believe, probably theater geeks. You know, they're probably people who believe in the magic of the theater, which I do. It sounds corny, but like
No,
I definitely
I agree
believe
with
in.
you.
Yeah.
Trust me, I 100%. I love the theater experience. Like I mentioned earlier, the new Orphan First Kill movie came out, which I absolutely loved. By the way, I thought it was really well done. For anybody who hasn't been able to see that yet, please check that out. It's a very well done film. But it released on Paramount Plus the same day. But I chose to go see it in theaters, and I'm glad I did. There wasn't a lot of people in there. I think I was one out of maybe 4 or 5 people in the entire theater to see that film. But I am glad I went and saw it in theater. My experience, I believe, was a lot better. I'm a movie theater nerd as well, so like I understand where a lot of people come from in that sense.
Yeah, nope, I definitely agree. And Tommy, you got a point on that too?
No, I'm just curious, Mike. I'm sorry, at Michael Bish _ so let me ask you this.
I wish I had a cool nickname, TB.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So with that Regal Pass you got going on there, can you go in and see new movies too?
Yeah, so you can go. I think I paid $21 a month, and you can go see as many movies as you want. The only downfall to it is if you want to see an IMAX movie, it is like a $3.50 upcharge. Um, but other than that, no. I didn't pay anything to go. Like you can go see any new releases as many times as you want.
I mean,
There's
depending on where you go and what the ticket price is, that's only like a ticket and a half. I mean, if you go to the movies.
So that's why I went for it, because I go to the movies a lot, and at least for me, if I don't get anything from the concession stand, strictly a movie ticket is about $14. So basically, if I go see 2 movies in a month, I'd be paying more than what I'm paying for the $21 a month. So it just made logical sense for me to do that.
Oh, we have that up here with Cineplex. We have Cine Club or something like that. I've been meaning to get it, but I'm really bad at that stuff.
Yeah, no, trust me, it took me a while to get it too.
Oh, I don't have points cards for things I could have probably had $1,000 for yet. Anyways, moving on. I want to move on. We do have 4 big subjects today, so I want to move on. I want to talk about House of the Dragon. Obviously, really big for our for Fandom Empire altogether. We got lots of House of the Dragon content as well as Game of Thrones stuff. So you can check that out in our previous videos if you're really into the show. We're going to be covering every episode before, after. We're really into it. And so I'd really love to get everyone's opinion on the first episode. And I'll give some of my opinions last. We're going to go in opposite order here, and I'll ask Tommy Bizzle what he thought about. Well, tell us your favorite element of the show to begin with. Like, what was the thing that struck you about this show? Is like, this is fucking awesome. Because I know I expect all 3 of you to say at least one awesome thing, because it's a pretty damn good show.
Well, the credits were pretty good. Oh,
Be
okay,
nice. What was your favorite part of the show? And then you can tell us what you liked about it.
That's a very good question, because I didn't particularly like. Oh, you didn't ask what I didn't like, so I'll just say that I like the fleshing out the characters, what we're getting so far. I like the introduction of the introduction. What the fuck did I just say? The
It's some sort of magical word.
Apparently, yeah. The introduction of
T-Brad's on the Kool-Aid tonight or something.
Apparently, yeah. I know, right? I got the good shit. I'm terrible with all these fucking Game of Thrones characters' names.
I'm actually getting better at them.
Rhaegar, Vagar, Raygun, it's all over.
Yes. Jared has. What's the female lead?
Matt Smith is Daemon Targaryen. If that's what you're leading into.
I said the female lead, not him.
Renara?
No, you talking about Renara?
Renara's the main character.
Millie Alcott.
We'll know the names in a couple of weeks. Work with us here.
Or I just will never learn them, because it's like I didn't learn a bunch of Game of Thrones character names until after I finished the whole show. So, yeah, she is my favorite character thus far going forward. I feel about Daemon Targaryen like I thought about Jaime Lannister, fucking douchebag, and deserves what he's got coming to him. Hopefully, it's not any of that Targaryen incest. We don't need to see no uncle and niece shit going on.
I have bad news for you.
Yeah, I think it's going to come to it too. So yeah, there it is. There it is. Did not like.
Go on. Yeah.
Stadium, the jousting shit. Thought it was excessive. Really thought it should have been cut down. It just felt so extra to me. Like, I know what everything else that was going on behind the scenes was very important. With the birthing and the crazy C-section they had going on there and all that.
Can you clarify? Do you mean like excessive, like Like
Too
it was
long.
just too much
Too
of the
long.
tournament, or you mean the excessive violence?
Spent too much time on it.
Oh, okay, then I totally disagree with you. But
Like,
go on.
I forget how I heard this. I think I might have heard it from Sean, and I don't want to mince his words, saying that it was inserted to put more action into this. And it just felt so unnecessary to me. Like, include it, yes, but don't make it as long as it was. So that's my opinion.
So Tommy thinks that it's too much action, so don't insert anything. Go on, Jer. What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. It's a slow build, and I mean, it's the first episode, so you can only get so much out of an hour and a little bit. I thought they built the characters relatively well. The yellow cloak guys are, you get heat on them, and then it's slowly we'll get somewhere with that, but it's clearly defining who the people are and what they do in the first couple episodes, I think. And then we can get into the stories and how they intertwine and whatnot. I really liked the jousting battle and how that turned out. And, with everyone just destroying each other and, an axe to the face and a shield, Although I like how they stole the scene. Huh?
It threw me for a loop because I
they
thought
just
for
started
sure
beating
that
each other up.
Well, yeah, because I thought jousting was going to be like, oh, I dismounted this guy, I win, but it wasn't. Like, now get off and fucking smash him in the face. And it was
the guy, the horse goes down and his
fashion,
face all over. I did like the callback to The Sopranos in the scene though, because after the axe to the face, it pans back and you see the guy throwing up in the background. All it needed was a guy going, "Oh shit!" So
yeah, that was I feel like that was to show that even people in this world are doing what you're doing, going like, oh, like, good Lord,
yes.
Like, don't worry, you're not the only one out there who's got a weak stomach. People in Westeros are also having a hard time with this. One of the points that I thought about the jousting tournament was interesting was like when Matt Smith's character Daemon Targaryen was up and going like, yes, I'm like the best ever, and then someone defeats him, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I thought we were proving how dominant and like great a warrior he is, and
in the scene of
he got beaten by a Dornish warrior. So and obviously they're known very much for their one-on-one fighting skills. So, but I feel like there's going to be a receipt for that. So I actually really liked the jousting part of the episode. Mr. Michael Bish.
Leave the nails alone. Just no.
Mr. Michael Bish, what did you think? What was a couple of takeaways that you liked or didn't like? I'll let you dislike things, not T. Brad, but you can throw a dislike in there.
I don't really have one, to be quite honest with you. Me and Sean discussed it just a few minutes ago. We were trying to go through our dislikes. I couldn't really find any, man. I was really impressed with what we got in this first episode. I think the number one standout for me is just the entire cast as a whole. I thought so far everybody was casted perfectly. There's not one person that kind of made me ill will in any type of way. The two that stand out for me, my favorite is going to be Princess Rhaenyra. And obviously that's going to switch over from Millie Alcock to somebody else. So we'll see how that transition goes. I'm not really worried about it, but I do like Millie Alcock is this young Princess Rhaenyra. So I'm kind of disappointed that switchover is coming, but I don't know. We'll see how I feel about that. But as far as episode 1, she's the one that I really gravitated to, that I really enjoyed. And then Matt Smith is Daemon Targaryen. I mean, he sticks out to me as well. I thought he did an absolute phenomenal job. He's a dick in a sense. That's just my takeaway from it. I mean, Sean kind of pointed it out. You can kind of tell, like during the celebration or whatever that they had that night, that he wasn't really into it. So we'll see where his character development goes. But no, I really was impressed with the characters as a whole. I would say that is my number one standout from the show. It's just how already invested I am into these characters. And I'm interested to see, you know, the matchup that they set up, the tension that they set up throughout the show. I'm interested to see that play out, with Otto. So I don't know, man. I thought it was so well done. And it's hard to pick out a flaw for me particularly. So I'm just gonna go with the positives. And that's gonna be just the cast in general. I thought they did a really great job of one, just in this first episode, there's a lot of groundwork that had to be laid. But not only did they lay that groundwork, they had us invested with these characters by the end, at least for me, characters that I'm really invested in. So I thought that was a huge success for them in this first episode. It's kind of hard to do that in one episode, despite the length. And I thought they did a great job of that.
Yeah, and you're not really a Game of Thrones guy, right?
No, I am. I just never got on here to talk about it.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I
Yeah.
kind of thought that you were like maybe a kind of Game of Thrones guy. But anyways,
No, yeah. I do enjoy Game of Thrones a lot. But I'm very hesitant. I was very hesitant about getting on here talking Game of Thrones. One thing that I do want to point out, I'm glad we mentioned it and we struggled with it in the beginning. The names. It's gonna take a couple episodes to get the names down. That's the biggest thing for me, especially how to pronounce them correctly.
I was legit thinking, oh my god, I have to learn all these new character names.
I know. That honestly, that was probably, as much as I enjoyed Game of Thrones and how much I loved that series. I was kind of scared of getting on here and just butchering some stuff. So that's why I never got on here to talk Game of Thrones, because I hadn't rewatched it or anything like that. My plan was to rewatch it. I just didn't have time. So I didn't want to come on here just butchering shit and just looking like an idiot. So
that Tyrion Lannister guy, he was cool.
It's definitely it's like I do a show with Zach, who really loves this show, and Sean, who could tell you what happens in every episode of every, like, Sean quite often will be like,
yeah.
So in episode 305, when Jamie says, I would like to kill you before lunch, and it's like, you know exactly what episode and exactly what quote that is, and I'm like, Jamie Lannister, he's the not short one, right? It's like,
I'm kind of like,
so
you.
I
Well,
totally,
then I guess I'm okay, good, because I'm kind of like in your boat in a sense.
Well, I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay with making a fool of myself. I feel like you're relatively unspoiled here on FE. I've probably made a lot of really bad mistakes already. I feel like you're a smart guy. I think you're
Sean's biggest mistake. Sean's biggest mistake that he makes is just talking when his mic is mute.
And somehow it's getting worse. Like he does it like 5 times.
Well, he got me tonight when we were recording take one. Like, I'm really good about unmuting my mic when I talk. Yeah. But when we wrapped up the show, I was talking for a good 15 seconds, and he was like, "You're on mute. You're on mute." And I'm like, "I'm hanging out with you too much, Sean. We're spending too much time together."
It's even more fun when you're on an audio only podcast. Nobody can. Everyone's like, "Did I pause this? Is that the end?" Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it too. There was some complaints about the episode from fans. Of course there was, but just to go over a couple things and what you guys think of them. It's been said that the dragons were not as impressive as has been hyped up. I actually rewatched the episode, and on rewatch, I thought it was great. I thought they looked good, especially at the funeral part. They look better. Apparently, they look better close up than far away in this one, which is different.
Weird.
What the fuck do people want?
I disagree with that take, and I agree 100% with Kieran. I thought that they were done absolutely phenomenal, and I understand even from afar. I think they look fine. But up close, normally you can kind of tell in a sense. I thought, especially up close, they looked absolutely phenomenal. So I guess everybody else can just kind of fuck off with their complaints, in my opinion.
Well, what the fuck do they want to see with these dragons? They want them to look like they're in some fucking VR world or something. It's Game of Thrones. Do they want to see a fucking dragon penis? Is that what they want to see? Is that why the dragon isn't good enough?
Now
Maybe
I
they-
want to see it.
Maybe they
Talking
wanted
about
to.
the peacocks, the dragon peacock.
Maybe they wanted to see the dragon penis cut off and thrown on a desk.
Yes. Cut off that wing.
That's a nod to earlier
guys-
in the show for people who
You guys are
didn't watch.
ruining my show. This is my show now, and you guys are ruining it.
That poor thief was uncut until he was cut.
Oh, he was cut.
That was I was watching that, and you're seeing like an arm, a hand, some dude's genitals, and you're like, wait, did this match the crimes? Are they random, or are they like, oh, this guy's a rapist, so he loses that.
Well,
This
yeah,
guy's a thief, so he
Karen.
loses a hand. But then you're like, why did one guy lose an arm? What's worse than did he steal? Was that like grand larceny as opposed to the guy just stole an apple, or like?
Well, Karen, you know, if attempted rape gets you shot in the dick.
What? Why do I know that?
RoboCop.
Oh, yes, I really, I do love that scene. I do love to make light of that scene as often as possible. And the we made a movie RoboCop version of it where there's like at least 100 guys that get shot in the dick. We should post that clip in Fandom Empire later.
Yeah, we know a thing or two about prosthetic dicks getting what's coming to them.
And on that note, we can do nothing, so we'll just go on a different note altogether. Anyone closing thoughts on Game of Thrones? We're all hyped for episode 2, except for Tommy B.
No, I never fucking said that. Don't be putting that fucking evil on me, putting words out of my fucking mouth. The show looks good. It ended on a very interesting note. We talking about the Song of Ice and Fire and its place in, the mythology, the lore, whatever, Game of Thrones, and seeing how it's going to play out in the future. They got, I don't want to use the term endless. The world is their oyster for this show and future content going forward. There's so much they can do. They really want to make the conversion of Game of Thrones from series to franchise. And I'm just from this first episode of House of Dragon, like how it looks. I'm hopeful for the future.
And for those people who think that, it wasn't as expansive, like I did hear a lot of people say, well, we're focusing on 5-6 characters. That's that episode. There's gonna every episode's gonna bring more and more people into the fold. And if you guys did rewatch recently Game of Thrones, it's kind of like that too. You don't meet every character in the first episode. It's not like you feel like you do when you think back on it, but you don't meet every character in the first episode. Sometimes characters come have way less screen time than you remember. They come way earlier or way later than you remember.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was watching Friday Night Lights with Caitlin last night, and there were 2 storylines in the show that were not mentioned whatsoever. Ongoing storylines that were not mentioned in the episode we watched. And we figure, okay, but they covered enough in this episode, they'll just continue those storylines in the next episode. So they can kind of piece together where they want these story plots to go, and then throw the characters in as needed.
Such a great show.
Yeah,
such a great show.
I haven't seen that one, so I will have to check that out.
No, but I'm super excited. Honestly, for me, I thought the episode went by super fast. I was very intrigued the entire time. They definitely kept my interest. So I'm really, really excited and really looking forward to this. The unfortunate part is these 10 weeks are going to fly by fast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're kind of, I feel like we're getting adjusted to that with Disney Plus series though, because Disney Plus series seem to be very short. So I feel like I'm being conditioned to be okay with that lately, which is a great segue.
That's a nice segue. My man.
Segue, yeah. I'm I'm okay at this shit. Next segue into this. Did everyone watch the She-Hulk
Superwoman.
episode 1? Did everyone watch it? I don't want to ask. I don't want to be
No.
like, "Hey, Jared, what did you think of She-Hulk?" And be like,
Yeah,
"I don't give a shit."
I'll sit this one out.
All
I
right,
have not seen it.
get out. So
Yeah.
it's
She-Hulk Hogan is
myself-
where I'm at.
I know. I can ask you any wrestling question. I know about that. She-Hulk. I'm just going to take the lead on this one since I already passed it off, and because I saw Tommy hold his microphone up to his mouth, so I had to take it away from him. She-Hulk. My thoughts on She-Hulk were I thought it was very lighthearted, which was really cool to see. I really liked the direction it went with the character. They didn't spend a long time explaining, how she got to be the way she was. Like it did it all in an episode pretty quickly. Established a lot of things about how she's going to deal with it. Lots of really strong themes of like empowerment for women, which I thought was awesome. Really loved the monologue that some people are not liking, but that's the internet. I really absolutely loved it. And I think the main thing that was just super awesome about it was the main character. I cannot say her name. Mike will be able to say her name, right? Tatiana Maslany?
No. Maslany? I don't know. It's disrespectful to butcher it, so I'm not gonna try. We'll go with Tatiana. We'll just go with Jennifer Walters. We'll just go with Jennifer Walters.
That's a smart idea. She was amazing. I thought she was great. I thought she was like very like super entertaining. Like not even like, I don't want to say she had an aura or a commanding presence or that sort of thing, because it wasn't like a serious type of show, but like she's the kind of person I just go to see a one person show. Like I feel like she's a very entertaining person altogether, and she really made the show. And I love that they, once again, Marvel stuck with some of the themes of the comics. She broke the fourth wall, which I'm told is the She-Hulk thing to do. And I really loved it. I really quite enjoyed it. Mike, what did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it, man. And I'm not like I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. I enjoy Marvel, but I'm not deep into it like a lot of people can sit here and explain like the comics and the timelines and all of that. I'm not that well versed in it, but She-Hulk is something that I really wanted to check out, man. I heard a lot of great reviews on it online. So I went into it. I know I saw a couple reviews that said the comedy was a little overboard, but for me it really wasn't. I thought that they balanced a lot of different emotions in a sense throughout this very well. It had its funny moments, but I don't think they ever went overboard with it. Tatiana did an absolute phenomenal job as Jennifer Walters, and I think they did a great job in this first episode, kind of explaining, like you said, what happened to her, how that happened, and I'm intrigued to see where we're gonna go moving forward with her. And I thought the episode ended in a way that I really appreciated. And I also really want to say that I appreciate all of the woman empowerment in this episode as well. I thought that it shined the way that it should be shown in any type of just in general. And I thought they did a great job with that. So all the complaints out there, those probably just 40-year-old, 50-year-old men just mad at themselves. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. And I can't wait to watch more, man. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks it's so short. There's a couple TV shows that I have that complaint with, Cobra Kai being one of them. Those 30-minute shows, 40-minute shows just don't do it for me, man. But it's what I can work with, and I thought they did a great job for the time that they had. So I enjoyed it.
It's funny. I'm kind of the opposite. I have lots of times when I can only watch a 20-minute show or something like that. So I do really love short shows because it seems like they're dying. It seems like everything has to be, 50 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes now. Like a lot of times I'm like, oh man, I got to go to work in 20 minutes, so I'm going to watch Trailer Park Boys because it's the only 20-minute show I could watch and like really
Kieran,
quickly.
check out Uncoupled on Netflix. Only 29-minute episodes.
I will check that out. Yeah. So I mean, but I did really like it, and I think it's going to be a great companion for Game of Thrones in a way. Being is that like sometimes you're watching medieval C-sections, and sometimes you're watching a giant green woman, joke and bash her way through enemies, and like it's nice to have a little bit of a split. You don't always have to go to bed being like, why did they do that?
Yeah, but I didn't think the comedy was overboard that some people were saying. I mean, how did you feel about it?
I didn't at all think that it was overboard with comedy.
Yeah, neither did I. I thought it was perfectly well done.
Well, see, when I do feel like Marvel is overboard comedy-wise, it's when it's little wisecracks, and I didn't feel like it wasn't like I feel like Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. sometimes goes overboard, and I mean it's not him; he doesn't add all the lines and say he's not the one who edits it, but I feel like sometimes I'll get too much of that. I'll be like, come on, guys, you guys are fighting like. You guys are fighting robots right now, not like you can't be joking around like you're hanging outside the convenience store all the time. So I get that, but I didn't feel it. You're right. I didn't feel it at all. I honestly don't really even know what they're referring to because I didn't
Me
really
neither.
pick up on that at all. I did really like the relationship between Bruce and Jen.
I did too, and some of my favorite scenes was when she converted back to her normal self, and you see the size difference, and they're hugging. I thought that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, and like just the fact that he's like pissed off. He's like, okay, this is what you're gonna have to go through. It's gonna be hard times. This is gonna be a 2-year journey. And she's like, I think I pretty much got it. And he's like, what? So, anyways, really enjoyed that. Tommy Bizzle, what did you think of the She-Hulk episode 1? Did you think it was too much jokes? Did you think it was something that you're going to want to watch every week when it comes out, or maybe later, maybe on the back burner?
Yeah. I don't always get to these shows the day they come out, but the MC we watched together. So she wasn't really excited for you. Criticism, and I mean, this is coming from the source material, and things to be said about that is, why isn't she big? Like, Hulk the Hulk. She get real big, all over big, like the Hulk. It's a justified complaint. As for the actual show we're looking at here, we did sit down, we did watch it, and we both really enjoyed it. We did not think the comedy was too much. We did enjoy it. My biggest complaint, and she didn't bitch about it as much as me, but like the episode's too fucking short, of course. We need to stack up that episode by another 10 minutes or so minimum. So disappointing as far as that is concerned, but it's a good contribution, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it affects the MCU wave as a whole and everything else they got going on right now in the background.
Hey, Tommy, do you think you could sing There Is No Strings on Me, the Pinocchio song? That I feel like that would do really good. Right. You're coming across sounding a little bit like Ultron right now again. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make light of it, but other people are noticing it too. You're definitely really echoey and robotic right now.
How about now?
It cuts in and out because that was fine, but it keeps on kind of like cutting in and out. I don't know what the reason is. I'm definitely less of a tech wizard than Sean, so
it was weird. The start was bad, and then he got good, and then the end was.
Well, you folks will be talking about wrestling soon, so it's okay.
I'm sorry, Tommy. I don't mean to. Yeah, I don't mean to stomp on you there or anything, but just like, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, and I can't fix it because I'm not Sean. There's a good chance it's something I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. It's me. I'm doing it. I'm sorry, guys.
Kieran's
Everybody
always
knows.
pushing buttons.
Everybody knows if I was doing it like that, I would be torturing Jer, not Tommy.
This is true.
There's one person I'm going to take their voice away. It's going to be Jer. Then he can have he can have it back for a 3rd round pick in our fantasy league. One more piece of news we can get to. I don't think it's going to be a big topic. Then we'll get to wrestling, but wouldn't mind hearing your guys' take on this. Matt Reeves has signed a big deal, and to me it signals. Well, we're already getting a Penguin TV show on HBO Max. That's already farther along in the production.
You mean they haven't fucking canceled it?
They haven't. I don't believe they've canceled it.
I mean, they've canceled just about everything else. I'm surprised they haven't canceled it.
Yeah, no, I get. Yeah, with the weird HBO divide and all the other umbrellas and that weird flow chart that we got a little while ago. I get what you mean now. Matt Reeves and his production company, Sixton, Idaho, have signed on with Warner Brothers. Basically, like a deal for him to make movies for them. Kind of keeps him from being able to be like, no, I can't work on Batman right now. I'm going to work on this other film I'm doing. I feel like it's so that he can be the Kevin Feige or, the architect of a Batman universe. Wouldn't be in that same role that Kevin Feige role, but I mean, he would be the person who's going to oversee a Batman, TV show. We might be getting some, there's many characters in the Batman universe. Like, you don't just have to go Batman movies. There could be Nightwing movies. There could be a Batgirl movie, maybe, ever. Who knows? And we're going to get a TV show based on the Penguin, and we're also supposed to be getting some sort of version of a Gotham detective show, a GCPD show. That one
Didn't we get 4 seasons of that already?
That one was only rumored so far, but I mean, the Penguin one is definitely happening. Reaction to this? I didn't even hear what Jer said.
Didn't we get 4 seasons of a Gotham detective show already?
Yes, that was terrible. We're going to get a non-Fox version of that show. Fox TV, the lowest possible form of entertainment.
Well, we know what the Fox says. You're canceled.
Anyone jump in? Anyone? What do you think? What's having Matt Reeves signed on to make some sort of Batman universe, or is that what it's for, or is it for him to make other movies? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. My guess would be Batman universe, dive into that. Outside of that, I'm really not sure. So I don't really have much of a reaction to this. I actually didn't find out about it until right before we started the show. So it's interesting, though. That's a pretty big deal that they're giving him. So I expect him to be heavily involved with a lot of content coming out of there. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we do know as well that Batman, the sequel to the Batman, is already moving forward for sure. As soon as it kicked ass in the box office, that was pretty much a guarantee. In fact, you could pretty much expect a sequel to any superhero movie that kicks ass in the box office, because that's where money is being made right now. Like, without even, you don't even really need quality content right now to create a sequel to a superhero movie, because people are just superhero addicted at the moment.
3.5 hours with a superhero and you're good to go.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there are lots of bad ones, but they seem to make money regardless. Like, a lot of even the ones that are received poorly are making back their budget, plus a pretty healthy bottom line. So I mean, even like I think there was only one Marvel type of flop, and that was like Eternals, and that was only considered a flop in kind of Marvel standards, really. I think they're still going to make some money out after everything they get back there. So, I think superhero movies are the way to go, and there has been some speculation that this might be a reboot of the DC universe. I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think Matt Reeves' story is going to lend itself to having superpowered aliens and things in it. I think it's way too grounded for that. I don't know. What do you think, Tommy? Any reactions to this news?
Not really, man. I mean, there's just so much shit lately. I can't fucking keep up with it all, number one. Number two, every time you turn your fucking back, something's getting canceled. You know, what the fuck am I supposed to listen to? Like, legit, minutes before we came on here, you know, we want to talk Batman DC. I saw something about a new animated, Batman series that was canceled. That was supposed to come related, but apparently this and 4 others that were, being workshopped or otherwise developed are getting shipped off to other studios. So it's, I don't know. I don't have much. I mean, a line of opinions for this, right? I don't even know much about the series itself.
Okay. I mean, it's basically it's telling us we're going to get more. I believe it's telling us we're going to get more Batman. We're going to get probably 3 Batman movies. We're probably going to get 1 or 2 shows. Penguin is probably a guarantee at the moment because I believe it's pretty far forward.
I mean, I think that the reception for the Batman was generally pretty good. Many folks, if not most, really enjoyed it, and I think really want to see that that rendition fleshed out a little more, right?
The money said so, that's for sure. I mean, you go online and you see lots of people who are still dying to see Ben Affleck continue as Batman. There's a lot of people in that camp. I know. I see that face, Mike, and I don't understand it either because, I mean, he wasn't the worst Batman ever or anything, but I don't like those. It's funny, that camp of people is like Batfleck and nothing else. Like, screw Keaton, screw them all. They're all like, they're really hardcore. And you're like, okay, I get it. He's the biggest, most muscular Batman. I get it. But like, it's not really.
I asked Val Kilmer when he thought about it, and he's like, hey, can I get a smoke off you?
I was going to make an even worse joke than that, but we'll go on. Well, yeah. Reese, you know what? Why don't we just, before we get really bad and before me and Jared get kicked off the air, why don't we outro Mike Bish and Mr. Tommy Bradshaw? I don't even know how to kick you guys out, so just say a couple things. You got anything to promote there, Mike Bish? I know you're still doing the Take One. You mentioned that it's going well, right? And doing the Overlook with Sean as well.
Yes, me and Sean just actually did wrapped up the Take One podcast before I came over here. This he's on the podcast this week as we talk House of the Dragon, and then we dive into Halloween 4 for our road to Halloween Ends. And then yes, please head over to Fandom Empire on YouTube and check out the new video that is up for the Overlook Drive-In. Our first film we did was The Shining. Sean did an amazing job editing that. So please head over there, check that out. And next week is going to be I Know What You Did Last Summer, followed by Hush, then Jaws IMAX. And it continues from there. So make sure you go check that out.
Sound like we found one. We found one. We caught one.
Batfleck. Okay,
Joel
I'm out.
Phelan.
Goodbye, guys. Y'all have a good rest of the show.
Later. Thanks for joining us. Tommy, what you got anything going on right now? Anything you want to promote? You got the Tommy Bradshaw show?
Fuck that, man. I don't got no fucking time for none of that.
Well, you
can find me
should.
hanging around. You can find me hanging around our Facebook groups and pages, usually putting some fires out as they come up. Had one just before we got on air today, so that was cool. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all, not really. No, it fucking sucks sometimes. I'm floating around Instagram and Twitter at tbrad1650, and I'm going to bed. So fuck this. Peace.
Have a good sleep. And it ends with the highly anticipated Jer and Kieran show, where Jer and Kieran talk
Yes.
about stuff that you wouldn't be allowed
Ratings
to talk
are
on
through the
TV.
roof.
Yeah, exactly. We've been asking for this.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit of wrestling, and we're going to lose 3 people here, 3 or 4 people here who are like wrestling. Pitchforks.
Not that fake
uh,
stuff.
But
We want real movies.
yeah, well, I'm sure Justin Smith will be around here somewhere. He's always in here for our wrestling. Big stuff in the wrestling world that we want to talk about. We mentioned pre-production there that we want to talk about a certain wrestler that returned to Raw. You got any specific inside stories about how Johnny Wrestling, got his job back?
Yeah. So he was a free agent for the better part of 9 months. His contract ended in NXT, and he didn't re-sign, and he was just going to go do his own thing. And so it was a hot topic for a long time that, oh my God, another NXT, outcast. Where's he going to end up? Is he going to go to AEW? Is he going to, end up in the Indies? And he didn't really hint anything. His wife had a baby, Candice LeRae, also former NXT wrestler. And he would just do, play video games on YouTube or whatever, or Twitch, and just, do his own thing. And when people would ask him about wrestling, it was like, yeah, just, doing my own thing. And so absolutely nobody expected him to return to WWE last night. He was hidden. He wasn't on the run sheet. Nobody knew he was there until his music hit. And then they see him backstage. It's like, oh, shit, Johnny's here.
He's one of the easy wrestlers to hide in an overhead glove compartment there. So it wasn't as hard as like trying to hide Brock Lesnar somewhere. So
yeah, you don't got to fold them up too much, Yeah, I guess. And stories came out that there were people in AEW who wanted him to come in. Obviously, he's worked PWG and Chikara with the Young Bucks previously, and so he had feelers out there that wanted, hey, come work with us, and he just took time off on his own, did his own thing. And there were rumors that he was going to end up at Impact. There was zero chance of that apparently happening. And
they never get anyone.
I know, right? I mean, unless it's like,
I keep hearing that all the time. All these wrestlers like, but what if he goes to Impact? And you're like, nobody's going to Impact.
Yeah, no offense to Impact. Like, they put on a great product, but it's not a destination. Yes,
I've quite liked their product, but they're not. Yeah, they're starting to get to like 6th, 7th fiddle here. Like,
exactly. Their ratings are below the toilet right now.
They're not number 3 anymore. I believe they've got to be something like 6 or 7 now.
Exactly, right. So yeah, Gargano returned to WWE on the main roster. So that's exciting. Some news from the NXT show that happened tonight. They are officially combining the NXT UK and NXT championships at the Worlds Collide show, which I believe is the same afternoon as All Out. So it will be a full full wrestling day on September 4th, because we'll get Worlds Collide in the afternoon and we'll get All Out at the night. And so we're getting Tyler Bate versus Braun Breaker for the NXT UK and NXT championships. And there's a 3-way for the women's championships. NXT UK champion Miko Satomura, I may be saying that wrong, I'm not sure, is taking on Blair Davenport, and the NXT women's champion Mandy Rose. So yeah, they're really getting rid of NXT UK. They've released probably 25 wrestlers last week from the brand. So that's dead in the water until they relaunch as NXT Europe next year. I don't know if they're going to, re-sign people to new deals or what the plan is really for that. But yeah, NXT UK is about to be dead officially once they get rid of the titles.
Yeah,
so
that's,
there's the WWE talk. And he's not wrong. I mean, the entire clique. I mean, Sean got promoted to Vice President of Talent Relations in developmental. It was a really long title.
That was kind of like Triple H's title, except not quite the full boss. You know what I mean? That was Triple H's before, right?
Yeah. So
I mean, Shawn Michaels being there, I don't think is one of those like, oh, he's just hiring his friends. Kinda, but he's pretty qualified. Like he's the. This isn't the Shawn Michaels you're seeing in the documentaries now, in the A&E biography, where he was kind of an asshole and kind of bad for business altogether. This is Shawn Michaels, who is actually pretty good at I actually recently heard a story where Kevin Nash came to an NXT show that Shawn Michaels was helped run, and Nash was telling Michaels, like, you got to slow this down, like you're going way too fast. And Shawn Michaels was like, it's not how we do it now. So he wasn't like, old crotchety, like, like he wasn't saying like, oh, you got to do it our way. Our way is the best way. He was like, I know this is today's wrestling. I know how to do this. So I don't think that's one of those hires. Road Dogg is kind of a weird one because there are some bad backstage stories about Road Dogg. Not bad like Vince McMahon bad, but bad like, bad like he is not particularly the best agent back there, and getting rehired was a little bit of a, like, maybe it's a Triple H hiring his friends, but
yeah, I mean, and it's weird because he essentially took over. Jeff Jarrett got let go from the live events position, and they just slot Road Dogg right in there.
We're just getting, like, this is all just stories being finished, like.
Yeah,
Jeff Jarrett wasn't really wrestling any of those matches. It was Road Dogg. It was Road Dogg the whole time in a wig. Everyone knows that. Like, he
Road
sang
Dogg
for him. He wrestled his whole career. He did all the And Shawn Michaels and Triple H taking over WWE, like, that slowly was happening. Like, they were taking over backstage. They took over the stage truck. They had all the sound effects going here, and
I mean the plane says DX on the side, so
I mean, in real life, they took over. Like, it's a natural ending to that. But very interesting.
15 years.
What do you think? What do you think? So I keep hearing all this. Like, I hear so many people being like, Triple H is not doing all this stuff. He's not the one bringing these wrestlers back. They were all scheduled to be, like, they were all kind of on the radar before Triple H came back. I've heard this from so many people. I think I'm hearing it from people who are like Vinceites or Vince. What do we call these crazy Vince fans who think that he's the only one who ever does anything?
Oh, Vincels, yeah.
Yeah, Vince. Oh my God, I'd never come up with that. That's great. And to me, like, I'm like, well, Vince is gone. Triple H comes back. People that were successful in Triple H's show are making a comeback. And, like, Triple H, as much as he's been criticized in his career as being someone that doesn't put people over, and I think most people that actually pay attention to the product know that that's not true. Know that he's, like, fiercely loyal to his guys. Like, the guys he puts over, he's like, I'm going to put you over. And then he's like, and then he believes in those guys. Like, he's going to continue to push those guys. He likes those people. He's going to continue to push them. And I think that's what's happening. Is that what's happening?
Oh, 1,000%. And okay. I mean, historically, that's always been the case. Bookers will bring in their guys. I mean, Robert Fuller would go and book Memphis in the 80s, and all of a sudden you'd see Jimmy Golden, Brickhouse Brown, and, so it's the same thing, just, this is the 2022 version of it. And Triple H is right. Like, those are his guys. He pushed them. He helped them with their characters. He help them with their entrances. So he's going to take his guys and do what he would have done in NXT had he not had the health issues. You know, I mean, it got taken away from him, and then the budget cuts happened. Budget cuts. And now we're seeing Triple H's vision for NXT on the main roster, which we probably didn't expect to see, not this soon, but Vince was not giving up the reins unless he absolutely had to, and we didn't expect that the day would come where he absolutely had to. So now we're getting the Triple H show, who is now the head of creative, and the thing with the guys underneath him is they're loyal to whoever is in that chair. You know, you'd hear that Bruce Pritchard was a Vince McMahon guy. Well, yeah, his lips have been planted on Vince's ass for 30 years. But he knows how to keep his job, so he's just going to move over and plant those lips on Triple H's cheeks. And, I mean, that's business, really, you know. You want to make sure.
I mean, we are getting, this is, it's definitely the product, that, you know, that way that Triple H, and I get the bringing your own guys thing. It's actually really similar to football. Like, when you get a coach change from one team to the other, there's usually 2 or 3 guys who are on that bubble of the roster from that team who get carried over to the other team because it's like, I know this receiver, I know this linebacker, I know this guy can help me achieve what I want to achieve. He knows what my battle plan is. He knows what my offense or defense looks like. Like, this is what happens in football, and I think it's very relatable to wrestling, where it's like Triple H, if he brings in his guys that know his promo style that he wants, that know his wrestling style that he wants to get across, like, he's going to bring in those guys and be like, I helped groom this wrestler. I told him, like, hey, when you do this, lay it in. Hey, when you do this, I would like to see less of this. I would like to see more of this. If you're bringing your own guys, they're going to bring that vision for the product that you've instilled in them to your product. Like, it just makes sense. And I'm actually, like, I haven't watched WWE as much as I wanted to with this run starting off, because I do believe in Triple H. I am a Triple H guy. And I even was through the hateful years of everyone thinking the only reason, like, he was a no talent bum that was just given the title, where
he wouldn't put anyone over for like 2 years.
Kayfabe, he was given the title, but you know, whatever.
Well, the interesting thing,
I was always a Triple H guy. So,
like, since Triple H took over, Raw's ratings have gone up by 400,000 people on average within the past, I guess, it's been a month and a bit, maybe a bit longer, something like that. So, I mean, the product is rejuvenated at the moment. People are tuning in because they want to see this version of WWE, this new, fresh, changed version that isn't just a creation of Vince's, you know, whatever. You know, commentators are more loose. The referees have names. You know, there's hospital, not local medical facilities. Like, there's all these changes that it doesn't have to be a fucking universe. It's a wrestling program. Treat it as such, and people will tune in, obviously. But Vince is still pissed off. It's
I know he's probably, I'm sure he's making excuses. Oh yeah, they're tuning in to get me back or something. You know, like there's always
right. They want to see if I'm going to walk through the curtain, pal. Fuck out of here.
They haven't got their taste of Vince, and they're looking for it. The weirdest thing I find about this is that this comes at the worst time for AEW, which is like, because wrestling fans like me and you, like both of us, I think, are on the same page with the fact that we're like, man, WWE's been shit for 10 years, blah, blah, blah. But like, we will come back to WWE if it's good, because we have a long, long, long history with WWE. Like, if WrestleMania is going to be awesome this year, I'm fucking watching it. Like,
exactly, if we want the product to be good.
Yeah, like, right? I'm like, AEW better crush WWE, but only so that WWE can learn the error of their ways and come back. Like,
there you go, right?
So, I mean, and I believe that's probably the sentiment, even for the fans who don't want to admit it. I think that is kind of the sentiment that, like, we all kind of want WWE to come back so we can continue to be like, this is the best WrestleMania I've ever seen since WrestleMania 10. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we want. So, switching over to AEW, we're getting this Punk news. Has there been anything really more released about the whole Punk and like I'm not hearing too much more, but I know you got your ear to the ground a little bit more. We getting anything more about Punk's happiness with the company, the situation, the meeting?
It feels, well, I mean, the most I've seen is that a lot of this is surrounding the Colt Cabana. His contract was coming up and they were going to cut him. Tony Khan was just going to let him go, and Punk was obviously okay with this because there was a long legal history between Colt Cabana and CM Punk. Check it out on Google. It's messy.
That's an epic trilogy on its own.
Exactly. We won't get into the details. Cabana and Punk do not like each other whatsoever. We'll leave it at that. But Cabana has his friends in the company. The Dark Order, Hangman. And he's a longtime ROH guy, so he's got friends in the company. And oh God, he's here. Okay,
what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah,
we're not. He heard me earlier say that I was gonna. I'll let Jer talk again for a third, and he was like, "What?" Like he sensed it, and he was like, "I got to get over to that show. No collusions happening here."
Yeah, go buy some shoes. So Cabana was going to get cut, and Tony Khan, I don't know if somebody got it in his ear, but it coincides with Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor. And that's the other catalyst in this, because then he signs Cabana to a new contract to Ring of Honor. Now, Punk obviously isn't going to be working Ring of Honor shows. They're as separated as possible. So everyone's happy, right? Well, Hangman made the comment in the promo that Hangman was trying to protect AEW from Punk, and he didn't. Punk took offense to that in a wrestling promo. Like, come on, he's not shooting on him. It's dumb. And they got heated about it backstage. And so Punk goes and wins the title the following weekend. This is after that promo where, Hangman was going to save AEW. So the time frame works out that Punk gets injured the week after he wins the title. He hasn't cut a promo since. Didn't get the mic in his hand. So he's gone for, 3 months. The first promo, he gets an opportunity to fire back. He's like, yeah, cowboy shit. That coward Hangman sucks. Come on, fight me. And Hangman's sitting in catering like, how am I doing? I got my own shit with the Young Bucks. Like, leave me alone. We're done, pal.
It was like, it was totally like I wasn't in the script. Like
yeah. I'm not on the run sheet. What the hell?
Yeah. Am I in the title picture again?
Yeah. So that blew up, and it's just weird because I haven't heard any. I mean, obviously some people backstage are pissed about this. Hangman's probably one of them. Tony Khan is probably pissed because if they don't do anything about it, Hangman looks like a chump. Punk is just going to spew whatever he wants and no repercussions. I mean, he's the champ. What the hell are you going to do? But that leads us to tomorrow night. Would that promo have repercussions tomorrow? We don't know what it means for All Out. A lot rides on this match, more so than we're going to get an undisputed AEW champion.
Yeah,
and I think that's fascinating.
It's everyone's calling it very poor booking. I think we talked about this before, but everyone's calling it poor booking, and we talked about this match, and I think Sean talked about that this is the biggest match in the company. I don't kind of agree with that. I think it's the biggest stars, but I don't think it's the biggest match to make because it's two WWE guys. It doesn't make it's. Anyways, I'm not super high on this match, so I'm okay with them pushing that out of the way to get to something else. But if it's pushing it out of the way to get to something else, then that something else better be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I think the match will be good, and I think the match would have been a great pay-per-view match, but I think I'm expecting CM Punk to win and whatever, and I do not want to go into an AEW pay-per-view knowing who's going to win, because I feel like they've done a very good job lately of going into pay-per-views being like, this is not the one I know that's going to happen. Like, I don't know if, so-and-so is going to get a second reign, or if I don't know, like, I've gone into almost every pay-per-view not knowing, even when it did turn out a lot of the results in a specific pay-per-view went the way the favorite would have won, but I still was not like you go into a lot of recent WWE pay-per-views being like, well, Brock Lesnar cannot, Roman Reigns cannot lose. He's not going to lose to AJ Styles at, this
Extreme
pay-per-view
Rules, right?
that's been going on for 1 year, or he's not going to lose to Drew McIntyre right now. He's going to lose to someone at WrestleMania. So
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Okay. He's gonna lose to Cody Rhodes. But AEW has done a very good job, I think, of doing that. A lot of their weekly Dynamite shows might have very big main events that you're like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure Mox is going to win this, but the pay-per-views have been good in that regard. So I'm okay with this whole thing. I don't know if you feel like this is bad booking or this is just new school book, just unheard of booking.
It is unheard of booking because you usually try to maximize the buy rates of the pay-per-views. That's always been the traditional model for the last 30 years, ever since pay-per-view became a thing. And that is how the business has worked. You use the TVs to build to the pay-per-views. There's your revenue. In today's wrestling landscape, as WWE has proved with the Peacock deal and previously the WWE Network, they don't need the revenue from selling pay-per-views. I mean, they haven't even tried to push the network on us in forever. Remember that $9.99 campaign all over TV? Yeah, no, thank you. They
even wrestlers mentioned it on, like, would in the middle of the ring be like, $9.99.
Yeah, right. So I think this is where we're seeing the the profits of the company are now tied in so much with the TV deals. WWE proves this with Fox and USA, and AEW with Turner. So their income, a major source of income for the company, is now the TV deals, because they're live sports programming, whatever. It garners very good deals. And I mean, they get better ratings than NASCAR, and NASCAR has a ridiculous television deal. So, I think this is an example of AEW kind of testing the waters of, we're going to give this match away to hopefully 1 million people on TV, and the ratings will show that, hopefully. I mean, I hope they do like 1.3. I mean, they've kind of hovered just a little below 1 million the past couple months. But I think that is going to be the idea going forward, where not that they're going to push the pay-per-views less or treat them as less important, but TV is going to be a major driving force in the company. We're going to get those epic main events on TV that, 5 years ago, they would have saved to the pay-per-view because that's their money match. Well, now we're going to get the money match on TV, because that's where the revenue is with the ratings and the TV deals and everything is wrapped in that rather than, I mean, they're going to get what, 135,000 buys at the pay-per-view? Not saying that's a great number for them. That's a great number for anyone in 2022. WWE pay-per-views were not even drawing that well before the network showed up. So that's a great number. But do they want that number of people to pay $40 to go see the pay-per-view match on Fight or whatever on pay-per-view? Or do they want 1 million sets of eyeballs on this match on Wednesday night where I don't know the reach of the channel, but let's say 80 million people possibly are able to view this match?
Yeah, I get it. It's actually, it all ties around again about what we were saying about streaming versus the theater earlier. Like, there's like, it's a bad assumption on my point sometimes, but I always assume like, well, this is a big company like this. They probably know what they're doing. They probably know what they should push. I don't know if like, big companies do make stupid decisions. Of course they do. But they paid someone probably smarter than me and in the idea of like what to, where to push, where to get revenue and how to grow your company. And someone's telling them like, it's perfectly fine to sell all your stuff. I mentioned before as well too, like, I think sometimes, well, I mentioned this on Dark Match Drive. Like, I think sometimes people are watching the rise and fall of WCW DVDs too much, where they blame the giving away of Hogan Goldberg. Like they're like that destroyed the whole company. That was the whole downfall of all of WCW. It was all given away that match. And like, I mean, for sure it was different at that time when pay-per-views were like, yeah, you made a shit ton of money from them and they were a big driver. But like,
well, they had Dennis Rodman and Carl Malone on pay-per-view.
The fall of WCW was giving away like bags and bags of money to every single person that could possibly want to come. And
didn't give a shit about the company.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, and they didn't know how to run it and whatever. Like, it wasn't all because they gave away a free match on TV.
Hogan wasn't working Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes I think a lot of people are just thinking like, hey, this is like the playbook is save the big ones for pay-per-view because that's it. But like, that's not like pay-per-view is not really a thing like it was back then. Like pay-per-view used to be a really big thing. Like boxing matches are quite often given away on streaming services now. You don't pay-per-view for movies too much anymore. Like you pay per streaming services.
Well, in the States, UFC is tied in with ESPN Plus. So you can't watch a UFC pay-per-view unless you are subscribed to the streaming channel to therefore access the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I know. That's yeesh.
I mean, they bend you over twice.
Yeah,
for that
I
one.
know. Oh man, UFC is headed by an evil genius. I know it. Whether that evil genius is Dana White or someone else, I don't know. But they're headed by an evil genius.
Were they owned by the Frittatas or something?
Different. Something like that. Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta. I think only one of them is involved now. I don't remember. I'm not really big. If Chan was still in here, he'd be able to tell us because he's a big UFC fan. But
yeah,
I think he's gone now.
And there's a great story about UFC doing the Ultimate Fighter on Spike TV after WWE Raw. That it's kind of fascinating that Paul Heyman talks about on the MMA show with Ariel Helwani. I believe it's like a 10-year-old show. If I can find
listening to Paul Heyman talk is almost always entertaining.
Absolutely entertaining, informative. There's a couple lies here and there, but hey,
he's just. If only he had a wrestler's body, like he could be a very, very entertaining wrestler. Because he's almost like a Shakespearean actor when he's up there talking. Like when you hear him just like on one of those like sit down shoot interviews or something like that, and he tells a story, like it's always like he's always has parts where he's like yelling out there, blah blah blah, and he has parts where he's just like he's so entertaining. He's got so much range. Like why the hell did he stop his career in the movies at that rollerball movie or whatever.
Oh man! So he was he was doing rollerball in late 2000, I believe,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. Yeah. Okay. So he would kayfabe the ECW wrestlers on their paychecks and not come to shows and not tell them that he was doing rollerball. He just wouldn't show up to the ECW tapings because the wrestlers wanted to fight him over their paychecks.
That makes
He'd
sense.
be like, "Oh, I'm working on a TV deal for USA." No, you're fucking doing rollerball.
Oh man, and that movie. I remember I liked that movie when it came out, and then I saw it like one more time, and I was like, no, actually, this sucks. This is terrible.
I didn't even give it that much.
I saw it in the theater. I definitely saw it in the theater and was like, yeah, this is great. Like I actually, like on the big screen, I liked it, and then I saw it like on a TV like a year
Like
later
TV
or
or
2 years
something.
later, and I was like, this is fucking terrible. What was I thinking? Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
we got like 5 more minutes. We can end there. We can end in about 5 minutes. Jared, I want you to tell me about your Tell me about your favorite match featuring Scott Hall. What's your favorite Scott Hall match? Tell me about the best Scott Hall match that
Zero
ever was.
preparation for this question. He literally just came up with it. This was not in the show notes whatsoever. All right.
Not
Scott
at
Hall
all.
match.
Not at all.
I'm here for this. We're calling it in the ring. Ooh, that's a name for a segment.
Call it in the ring. We could
Down.
totally do that.
Hey,
Write that down somewhere. You know what? I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute to think about it and compose your thoughts. And so I brought up Scott Hall because Scott Hall is my first ever like favorite wrestler that I was like absolutely attached to. Like I had when I was a kid, I had favorites. You know, I liked the Macho Man and I liked Rick Rude and lots of different like wrestlers I like. But Razor was the first one. I was like, I want every action figure. I'm gonna run around with chains around my neck. I'm gonna whatever. Like I got Razor Ramon hairstyle right now. I'm kind of doing it at the moment. And absolutely, like I love to go back and watch his matches just to see him punch people.
I was just thinking that too.
Nobody has that working punch. He talked about, I remember he was on Stone Cold's podcast before it was a WWE exclusive, blah, 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 blah. And Stone Cold talking about it too. And Stone Cold has himself a pretty good working punch. And just like, absolutely love seeing him do a discus punch, doing whatever, like smashing people in the mouth. And as a kid, that's what always stuck out with me. I was like, that guy just knocks people's teeth out. Quite often you see him throw the discus punch and the wrestler will spin up in the air. Like as a kid, literally every time I was like, that's a tooth. There's a tooth in there. Like he knocked someone's tooth out. And that's what attached me to Razor Ramon and then later became Scott Hall, which was not at all Razor Ramon, two totally different characters. But absolutely loved the Hey Yo, the Survey. And you know what? The end of his career sucked, but he got redemption before he passed. And I was super over the moon about the fact that he was able to redeem himself before he passed. And, you know, on that note, we'll pass it over in the outsider's way to Jer with his favorite.
There we go.
Yeah, you got to go the opposite way. His favorite Scott Hall / Razor Ramon or.
I think I'm probably gonna go with the first one. Like the first one that came to mind was SummerSlam '95, the ladder match with Shawn, and I think I'm gonna go with that for a couple of reasons. I had purchased the Shawn Michaels Hits from the Heartbreak Kid VHS when I was like 12 years old, and that match was on it, so I watched the shit out of that tape, and I just loved the match. I thought the Shawn bump where his legs caught in the ladder was absolutely insane. I mean, watching it now, it's relatively safe, but I mean, I was like, oh my God, his leg's broken. And so watching it back now, I watched it probably within the past year. The bumps that those guys take in that match is fucking insane. like the suplex over the top, the bumps into the ladder, the bumps off the ladder. And it's always a struggle to get up the ladder to try to get the belt. So they're not taking away from the goal of the match with everything they do. You know, they're not just going to beat each other up for 20 minutes and completely forget that there's a belt hanging above the ring. I do love that Sean gets pissed at the end because he falls off the ladder and doesn't get the belt because that was the finish, and he has to go and redo it. And Razor has to kind of lay on the floor like a sack of shit for another like 45 seconds or whatnot. But yeah, no, that suplex on the floor is insane. And Razor was not a small guy. Sean was not necessarily. I mean, Sean would be pretty big by today's
Sean
standard.
was bulky at that point. Sean was bulky. I remember Sean in the outdoor WrestleMania being just like the
9, yep.
Just being like the peak of bulky, huge ass Shawn Michaels. Like definitely maybe got some help at that point in his career.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. And Razor was probably not afraid
hard to blame. It's hard to blame anyone. Well, it's not hard to blame anyone, but it's hard to blame everyone because there was a line and there was like, hey, you could be bigger and that's important to your career, or you can not be bigger.
Hey, those protein shakes were going around.
Got to get that Ico Pro.
Nah, but yeah, I doubt anyone ever. I think everyone watching has seen that match, and if by chance you have not, SummerSlam 95, Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels. There's only like 3 good matches on the whole card. So, you know, didn't you just watch that? Or no, you watched the In Your House.
Yes. No, I didn't just watch that. I know that's the one. So I used to always download matches on like LimeWire or whatever, you know, old people. That's what we did. And I used to always refer to it as the ladder match where Sean's wearing the green pants. Like,
yeah,
he's wearing like teal green pants or something, right?
Yep. I think that's the only time you ever wore those. It's a very visual, because he wore the gold and white when he won the title from Jarrett, and he wore red. Was it red at WrestleMania with Diesel?
I don't know. Red was his go-to for sure.
Yeah. Because that was what he got.
And he did have a black one that had more black than white.
Yep.
I believe the last weird cow print one he wore was the black one. He was still kind of hanging around with those before he abandoned the cow print ones. But anyways, it's funny because like I used to always download matches. They were like, "Oh, I want to see the Razor versus Shawn one," and I remember downloading it and being like, this isn't the one. And the first thing I noticed was Sean's pants. So then like when I downloaded the WrestleMania one, which is the one that's way more famous.
Yeah. Which I think is overrated, by the way.
I started
put that out there.
How dare you? Greatest pay-per-view of all time. That's my
It's a great match, but I mean it's not like okay, it's a fine ladder match. Go back and watch the Bret Shawn ladder match from 92.
Yeah.
Which I think is on Invasion of the Body Slammers or some shit like
Look,
that.
Sean's not on this show, so I don't want to. We're not putting CM Punk over. We're not putting Bret Hart over.
Hey, I just put Bret Hart over. We're getting there. We're going the long way around.
Behind the scenes, I'm always like, Sean, can we not talk about CM Punk this week? And then he'll just like, no, he'll just like, he'll no sell it. And then the first thing we talk about that, we'll be like, so CM Punk. And next time he brings it up, just take a look at my little head square and I'll go.
I do find Punk actually did come out with a new shirt yesterday, which is kind of a throwback on his gray Best in the World shirt.
Oh yeah.
The logo on the front is almost the same. It's a little.
It's like
different.
It's like the presidential seal looking.
Yeah.
Logo, yeah.
As in Punk We Trust.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I wore that shirt at my brother's birthday party Saturday night, and then I saw the shirt come out Sunday morning. I was like, oh.
I believe I told you had to burn that shirt. We're all burning
Yeah.
our CM Punk merchandise. Anyways, that's gonna do it
Did
for
you
us
see the
today.
video? I posted the video of that, right?
Sorry?
The guy setting his CM Punk shirt on fire.
Yes, yeah. That's where I
Okay,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I get
Yeah,
all of my wrestling news and knowledge from you. You know this, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
I
And where do you
watch
get that?
wrestling.
Where do you get
but
that news from?
I get that news from Dark Match Drive, the Facebook group.
Yes.
Yeah, very awesome. And if you can, subscribe to the Dark Match Drive because you'll get a ridiculous amount of wrestling, more wrestling than you could ever want to watch, and anything you're like, hey, like this, like I've never heard of this guy. Where can I find him? And then you just text Jer or message him on and say like, hey, where can I find more of this guy? And he will tell you where to find him. He'll be like, why don't you like go look back at 2014 Chikara? Oh, we got a lovely day.
Yeah, that just came out of nowhere.
Always at the end of our video.
Yeah, like what?
That happened just at the end. Like they hit us just around this time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
Dark Match Drive. You can catch all sorts of different programming. If you weren't around here earlier, we got House of the Dragon. We talked about that a little bit today.
We did a Dark Match Drive kind of pre-podcast last week, covering in depth the CM Punk, John Moxley, Hangman, Colt Cabana situation. It's about 41 minutes. Sean and I kind of go over everything up until what we knew. I think it was Friday night. So if you want in-depth details on that situation, go check that out on the Fandom Empire page. Scroll down a little bit, should be there. And Austin 316 guy, I am not weird.
Oh yeah, I saw that comment. It was actually I don't think he knows you, but it was bang on. Yeah, catch the Overlook Drive-In. They just had a podcast on The Shining. If you're seeing this video in its entirety, you can reach out in the comments. Tell me your favorite Scott Hall match. Tell me what you think about the She-Hulk show. Tell me what you think about House of the Dragon. Tell me what you think about a Batman universe. You reach out in the comments, and we really do pretty much reply to every comment. So if you feel like you're not here, you're not getting the interactive experience that our fans get. I wasn't super great at it today, but I'm not the usual host. You can type it in the comments, and we always get back to everyone. Well, not always to everyone, but 90. It's got to be like 90% here. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for bearing with me a little bit. This is my first time clicking on all the buttons and doing all the things. So I appreciate you guys hanging around. Thanks, Jer, for hanging out with us today. And I think that's going to do it for us. So let me just find out. Where's this outro music? Is it just the intro one again? I'm just gonna.
I tried.
We don't got that one anymore. Don't sing it because we'll get taken down. We don't
really.
Have that.
That's why it got changed.
The person who owned that music had sold it to something else, so it became no longer free or something like that. I don't know.
Okay. So he pulled a Hockey Night in Canada on us.
Something like that. All right, guys, that's it for us. I'll just I don't know. I'm just gonna click this button. We'll see what happens. See, it's this music.